I was podcasting. We're really done, but Tom is clearly not listening.
One of the best ways to support Melissa and the Mighty MERP Podcast is to go to our YouTube page, find the subscribe button, and once you've hit subscribe, open the menu and click the bell icon so you actually get alerts when we post new episodes or shorts.
This podcast is not a source of legal advice. No two legal cases are the same. Contact an attorney if you require legal assistance.
Welcome to the Mighty MERP Podcast. Today's going to be a fun day because I'm recording from my backyard. And there's a good chance we might have some adultish kids walking by, dogs barking in the background. I also live very close to a bike path, so we might hear other people walking by in cars. So it should be entertaining. I am here today to talk to Begum Malali, who works at Jewish Family Services in Atlantic and Cape May County. Before I start the interview, I just want to share a little bit about Jewish Family Services. I am excited that in June, I will be taking over as president of Jewish Family Services. And I am really excited to introduce all the services that JFS provides in this county. And it is more than most people can imagine. We serve seniors and older adults. We serve individuals with disabilities. We serve Holocaust survivors and members of the Jewish community. We provide justice-involved services for individuals that have been in the criminal justice system. And we also provide services for individuals that have experienced food insecurity. And so today I'm excited to talk to Begum Malali, who's the director of food security initiatives for Jewish Family Services. And I'd like to welcome you. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for that introduction.
And before we start, I do just want to share that JFF provides services to all individuals in the community and not required for clients to be Jewish. We serve the broader community and we have a commitment to inclusivity. So tell me about your background and how you came to lead the food security initiative at JFS.
Yeah, so I have been in the behavioral health, mental health, social services world for about 14 years now. So I've had experience in nonprofits and for-profits and residential facilities and hospitals for the last 14 years. And I moved here from Delaware about 4 years ago, which is when I started for Jewish Family Services. I was previously in the intake coordinator role. So I was essentially the first point of contact for people trying to access services with our agency. So I was fortunate enough to kind of guide and assess the consumers who needed services and got a little bit of a taste of what the need in our county was and is. And from there, I also finished up my master's in counseling. So hopefully I'm going to be licensed in the near future.
And can I interrupt? Can I ask, is it, when you say counseling, is your background a bachelor's degree in social work or and then a master's in counseling? What is your background before?
Yeah. So I have a bachelor's degree in behavioral in science. So a BS in psychology, my undergrad. And then I went to get my master's from clinical mental health counseling. Finishing that up now. Hopefully in the next month or two. And in October, we had gotten this new position opened, and I was honored to get accepted for the position. So here I am, I'm the director of our food security initiative at JFS.
And how long have you been the director?
So it's since October of 2024. So what is that, about 5 months? 7 months. Wow. Math is wrong.
7 months. Math is hard. So what drew you to this type of work, specifically JFS in particular, and then the food insecurity at this community level?
Yeah. So as I previously stated, my background's in mental health and social services. I'm a big advocate of giving people a voice where they may not have it, or even helping people who just need that extra guidance and support, whether that be mental health services or, as you mentioned, justice involved, or even food related services. When this position was offered or posted, I really felt that we can try and make a big difference as an agency, as a department, as far as the need with food. As we all know, it's hard. And food is a global issue, not just within our county. But if there's something we can do as an agency to be able to assist those who need it, the access to food, then that's where I felt like I could help the best way I can. And it's just amazing what I've been seeing so far since I've started, and the need and then the help that we have provided thus far.
So if somebody was following you for a day, what would they see when you talk about what you're seeing and the need?
Yeah. So today was a great day for someone to shadow me, because I started my day at 7:30. I come into the office about 8. Ideally, we had a food distribution today over in Atlantic City. And we prepped the van for about 100 bags of pre-made food, which consists of non-perishable items. And then we added proteins of frozen meats, frozen chickens, pork, fish. And then we also incorporate produce items. So today we brought grapes, bananas, and grapefruits. And then last is the offer loaves of bread for every single individual that stops over. So we prepped the van. We prepped all this stuff knowing that it was going to come to the distribution this week. We prepped the van. We headed out. We set up the table. We set up all of our bags, and people started lining up. So I have volunteers and staff who help with all that.
So I was going to ask, you said we, and so is that the volunteers?
Yeah. So I have right now a team of 3. It's myself, my 2 pantry associates, and a caseworker. And then I rely heavily on the volunteers to help prep the bags and to even be a part of the distribution. So we had 2 volunteers out there with us today. So I'm very fortunate for that.
How would somebody who was struggling with food insecurity, how would they know about the distribution? And can anyone go and benefit from the distribution center program that you did today?
So I have been working since I started in October with different partners to be able to, have our van parked outside of their facility. So when that happens, we communicate to them, and via flyer, via email, mass, what have you, whatever way that they communicate. So for example, today we did South Jersey Family Medical Center, which is located in Atlantic City, and they sent out a flyer across to all their patients, across to all their other partners, that the food distributions between 10 and 12 p.m. And it's every first Friday of the month, and it's open to the public. So they don't necessarily have to be a patient of South Jersey Family Medical or our other partners. They don't typically have to be a patient or a client, but it is open to the public. And it's advertised on our social media as well, our Instagram, our Facebook page. We also email our own staff members as they have clients they serve out in the community. So they're welcome to come, and it's really for the purposes of Atlantic City residents, mostly at this time is our focus for now.
Mm-hmm. And so you said you were making bags. Where is the food coming from?
So right now our bulk comes from the Community Food Bank of New Jersey. We have a partnership with them. They provide 3 types of food that is USDA, SFPP, which is the state-funded food, and then there's donations, which is co-op. So they come to us twice a month in bulk, and
Mhm.
we prepare that. We get it all into our pantry. Additionally, we are sourcing out and being assisted with Acme in Ventnor,
Mhm.
Walmart in our township, and most recently, we just added Castles to provide us with what we call food rescue. They need to get it out of their stores, and we'll take it and we redistribute it out at a timely fashion. So that's been working. And then we have a great volunteer and donor base. And then we work with local farms, such as reeds and crops. And I'm trying to expand out to outside Vineland area and Hamilton area to see if we can get more.
So there's a lot of fresh food that's coming in. I think when people think of providing food to those individuals that are food insecure, people think canned goods, right? Or box goods that have a longer shelf life. Is JFS, when you talk about Reed's Farm and Castles and Walmart, are you talking about providing also fresh fruit and fresh vegetables to
Yeah,
individuals in need?
yeah, absolutely. So we do offer the non-perishables. One of our, the biggest ones that people request are the canned tunas, the canned chickens, which are great of use. We also have fruits and vegetables with cans, but with these drives, what we try to focus on is providing more healthier options. So we lessen the non-perishables and add more produce, as you said, Melissa. And obviously it's seasonal, so whatever comes to us. And we'll add more proteins and meats. And then we've been having a ton of bread being donated to us, which is great because people can't always use bread. And so we lessen the non-perishables and add more perishables since we want to get it out there for healthier options.
Can I ask what makes JFS approach to food security unique compared to traditional food banks or pantry?
Yeah, so we are gearing up to provide what's called a choice pantry. And so we are looking to implement a new software. We're working with Pantry Soft, where people are going to get to create their own username and log in online at their own leisure and basically shop for what they need. So it's essentially like an Instacart, if you will. If you go to Instacart and you want to go down and see what you want, you pick and choose what you want rather than the pre-made bags that, previously we've been doing. So we're gearing up to do that. I am anticipating about June 1st for that start date. And then additionally, we have what's called our food security case management program. So we have the ability for 2 full-time caseworkers to go out and to do outreach with these distributions and then provide services beyond just obtaining bags of food. So they would kind of wrap around the services. How often have you felt you were food insecure, and what are ways that we can help alleviate that? So transportation is a big barrier. Caseworkers can provide transportation to some of our clientele by bringing it to the local grocery stores, local farmers markets, linking them to SNAP benefits for ability to get food, and then also linking to workshops. If we run into a client who might have diabetes, well, how can we connect you to a workshop and incorporate a meal plan involved so that one, you could have some sustainability and access as well.
So it's funny because my follow-up question to that was, how do you integrate nutrition education or culturally appropriate food choices to the services you provide? And included in that, how do you support individuals with health issues or healthcare issues?
Yeah, so I think the fourth pantry is going to be great because people typically know what's good for them. So today's event, a lot of the people who came over to our table really said, I can't have that. I really have high blood pressure, and, gave it back to us. So they're aware of what they can and can't eat. So the choice model will help us tremendously to provide the need that we see based on their requests. Additionally, we do surveys quarterly to see, what's going well, what's not going well, where can we improve. And of course, we always take requests. What do you want to see us providing more of? So those are all kind of the factors that weigh into making that decision. And then as far as our case management program, we do care plans. So the care plans are individualized for the need of the client that we're working with. So that could, a goal is to lower my diabetes by some percent, and the caseworker will help. Well, how can we do that? We'll work with a plan and get that orchestrated within their plan.
So I know this might be like nitty gritty, but if I when the program's available and I did the shopping online, I put the items in my virtual cart. Do they come to JFS to pick it up? How do they obtain the food that they've just shopped for? I don't know how else to say it.
Yeah. So that is the plan. That is what we're looking to do. They would create a username, go online, pick a time slot. They're going to have the ability to actually pick in the day and the time they would like to come in. So that way we can prepare the bags for our customers. And alternatively, if we have clients of our agency who are already working with our caseworkers, again, that's what makes JFS unique, is our caseworkers can help provide that transportation and or that delivery service. And we also do have delivery that is volunteer run for those who are disabled and homebound. So a lot of our senior citizens who can't have access to transportation, they're being delivered weekly.
So is there any requirements for an individual to participate in JFS food pantry or food services?
So we have our walk-in. So the Margate office is where our centralized hub is for our food pantry. There is no requirements other than just being an Atlantic County resident, and people can come in between the hours of 9 and 3 p.m. Monday through Friday, and we have expanded it to once a week. So while normal food pantries or even the food bank are subject to certain time limits and time frames, we are open 9 to 3, Monday through Friday. And again, people are able to come once a week. We look to service Atlantic County residents. And that's not to say...
And the food pantry, just so we're clear, they're literally coming, and there is a pantry at the JFS building in Margate that individuals can shop at.
Yes. Yep. So we have a full pantry, specialty pantry. We have kosher products, and then we have our refrigerated items as well as our frozen products. Yeah, that's all in Margate. So the AC distribution, which is where our mobile truck goes out into the city, right now we're doing 5 times a month. Those are, again, Atlantic City focused. So the only criteria is that you are in Atlantic City.
But you don't have to be in Atlantic City. You don't have to live in Atlantic City. You just have to be there at the time that the distribution is occurring.
Right. Now, if we want to expand it out to case management, that'd be more, you'd live there and work with our caseworker to establish that individualized care plan. Again, it's not a criteria that is, the idea is to reduce barriers. So it's not an essential, hey, have to. It's more if you have assistance beyond just receiving bags of food, the focus is those who do reside in Atlantic City.
What are some of the biggest challenges with the program, and how do you think the program can adapt and evolve?
Yeah, well, I'm still 7 months in, so I luckily haven't had too many challenges, but with the climate that's going on, there are going to be cutbacks with food, especially with the USDA products. We learned October 2012 FPA, which is a local purchasing agreement, is going to be cut off, which means food will not essentially be getting sent out to schools, food banks, farmers. And that's what I'm hearing. I don't have too much information as to what that really truly means for us just yet. But what I see is that we have such a high demand and the supply is getting limited. So I foresee that to be a challenge. Right now, we're doing really well and trying to figure out alternative plans, like working with Acme and Walmart and different vendors to try to make sure we maintain that supply. But that's the challenge that I kind of have in the back of my mind at all times. I don't know. want to say I don't think I have too many challenges, so I don't want to jinx myself, but I think we're fortunate right now.
Do you have any personal stories that have inspired you and motivated you to continue on the journey you're in with JFF?
Well, I've always been a compassionate person. You know, I really care about people to an extent where it's sometimes I have to make sure I throw boundaries because I want to go. It's almost like I can save the whole world type of motto.
So you mean you have to learn like not to invite them home and to like feed them in your own kitchen and
Yeah, or
those
to
type of boundaries?
or just say no, I can't at this time because I just try to go above and beyond, and I was always like that. But I also was raised with a cultural family. My mom and dad are of Middle Eastern descent, so we were always around food. The food was huge in our family. Healthy options, healthy foods, but just in general, just all around food all the time. And then my mom works in the school system in the food service world, so she's been around it. And now here I am with it. So I think it's just kind of like a correlation of where I like being helping people, and food is a huge necessity for us. It's one of our basic functions. We need it to survive. So
Yeah. I have to ask now, what's your go-to comfort meal after a long day of serving others or just a long day generally? What's your comfort food?
well, I mean, I can't go wrong with pizza. Pizza is my favorite. If I could, without any consequences, eat it every single day of my life, I would love to. But that is where I go to is pizza.
Pizza. Yeah. How can listeners or community members get involved?
So we love to take on more volunteers. If that's the case, we have our volunteers coordinator. We have our QR code, which is a sign up process over on our Instagram and then our Facebook page, so people can get involved that way. On our website, our jfsatlantic.org website, there's also an opportunity to sign up that way. And of course, donations is always an opportunity. There's you can donate through our website. And then I'm also hiring. So not just for my position, but the agency itself, we have about 20 positions open. I have about 2 positions that are related to food. So those are all ways people can get involved.
So I just want to go back to the volunteers for a little. How old do you need to be to volunteer?
18. Actually, let me take that back because we do work with schools as well, young schools and the JCC, the camp. So if it's a group situation, it would age isn't an issue. But if you want to come in individually, I believe it's 18, but I could be wrong on that.
Right. Or you can come in with your parents. There's groups that come in. I know there are sororities and fraternities that have helped with the food pantry, schools, as you mentioned. So there's not an age limit per se. I mean, you can't obviously be 10 and go by yourself, but you can definitely, there's lots of ways to participate and help at the food pantry. What's one thing that you wished more people understood about food insecurity in South Jersey?
That's a tough question. I guess I would say, one, it's really hard to ask for help, I think, for most of us. And I think if people could have a little bit more compassion for when you see someone who might need it, because sometimes people come to you and they might not need it and are afraid to ask. And that when they do ask, that reaction they get might be what, tells them that it's not okay to, come in for help. But I think just to be more compassionate, if I can ask people to be more understanding of what someone might go through, and we all have a story. So just the understanding.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. Is there anything else you'd want to share about your experience or JFS at this time? Did I ask everything I should have asked? What did I miss?
Oh, good. We're a great organization, and we're always looking for people who are compassionate and empathetic and really, really want to help out in the community, and we're hiring. So if people are interested, they can go right to the website and look at the careers page and check us out in the community. Check us out on Instagram and Facebook and our social media pages.
Yeah, thank you so much for your time. One of the things I love about JFS and the food pantry and food insecurity is such a good example, because although you're helping people who might have food insecurity issues, there, other services that we're providing to help them, which could be transportation or mental health, or connecting them with potential vocational services, or just, so many additional assistance, and not just saying, here's some food for the week. It's sort of trying to help people in the long run, not just in that moment.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to even when you ask what makes us unique. That is exactly what makes JFS unique. We don't just stop at one thing. We try to figure out where else we can help out, because everybody has some type of need.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. I just want you to know, I think we did not plan the shirts, but I think we did such a good job of promoting both the Mighty MERP Podcast on my shirt and JFS on your shirt. So nicely done.
Good. I like it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate the conversation.
I appreciate you having me. Thank you so much.
For any questions or interest in podcasting, go to legalpodcasting.com.
I was podcasting. We're really done, but Tom is clearly not listening.